Mary Brown just dropped the biggest bombshell in Sister Wives history, and Cody Brown was reportedly left completely devastated. But the real shocking truth is only getting started, so stay until the end because every twist gets crazier. And if you love explosive reality TV drama, hit subscribe right now because this channel uncovers the stories everyone else is afraid to reveal. Mary Brown never imagined that the quiet emotional distance growing inside her marriage would one day explode into a complete transformation of her entire life. Because for years, she continued holding on to hope, believing that somehow, some way, the family she sacrificed everything for would eventually heal and return to the unity they once proudly showed the world. But behind the smiles, the group photos, and the public promises, the emotional cracks had already started spreading deeper than anyone wanted to admit. And as the years passed, those hidden fractures slowly turned into wounds that could no longer be ignored. Viewers watched Mary struggle through lonely anniversaries, painful conversations, and moments where she desperately searched for signs that Cody still cared about rebuilding what they had lost. But every attempt seemed to end the same way, with more confusion, more emotional distance, and more unanswered questions. And while fans often debated whether their marriage was truly over, Mary herself continued clinging to the smallest hints of possibility because Cody repeatedly gave mixed signals, suggesting new beginnings, talking about fresh starts after moving to Flagstaff, and occasionally implying that maybe if things changed enough, they could somehow reconnect emotionally. But according to people close to the family, those moments only prolonged the heartbreak, because while Mary interpreted them as hope, Cody reportedly already felt emotionally disconnected from the marriage for many years. And that emotional imbalance slowly became impossible to hide, especially as the rest of the Brown family started unraveling at the same time. Christine began openly expressing frustration about feeling emotionally neglected and unseen, while Janelle quietly started questioning whether the sacrifices she made for plural marriage were truly worth it anymore. And as the emotional atmosphere inside the family grew heavier, viewers noticed something shocking. Cody appeared increasingly focused on his relationship with Robin, while the connections with his other wives slowly faded into painful distance. And although Robin consistently denied one, emerged the growing distance between Cody and many of his children, because what once looked like a loud, energetic, and deeply connected family slowly turned into separate groups, barely communicating with each other. Disagreements during the pandemic created emotional divisions that never fully healed, and several of the adult children openly admitted they felt abandoned, unheard, or emotionally dismissed by their father. Some stopped speaking to him entirely, while others reduced contact so dramatically that family gatherings became tense, emotional, and uncomfortable. And throughout all this, Mary quietly continued navigating her own emotional journey, trying to process years of rejection, public embarrassment, and loneliness, while cameras captured every painful moment. Fans remember how devastating it felt watching her celebrate anniversaries alone, hearing Cody admit he no longer saw romance in the relationship, and listening to her question why someone would marry her if love was never truly there. Those confessions deeply affected viewers, because beneath the reality television drama, there was a very human story about someone trying desperately to feel valued, wanted, and emotionally safe inside a relationship that no longer gave her those things. And despite all the pain, Mary still remained connected to the family longer than almost anyone expected, which made the eventual revelation of her spiritual release and separation even more emotional. Because when she finally chose to walk away completely, many fans realized just how long she had spent hoping things might somehow improve. But according to insiders, the emotional transformation that followed surprised nearly everyone. Because instead of collapsing under heartbreak, Mary slowly began rebuilding herself, reconnecting with her independence, surrounding herself with supportive friendships, and focusing on creating peace rather than chasing validation. And somewhere during that process, Henry William reportedly entered her life. Unlike the loud, emotional chaos surrounding the Brown family, Henry was described as calm, grounded, private, and supportive, someone completely outside the reality television spotlight. And that contrast immediately caught the attention of fans, because for the first time in years, Mary appeared genuinely relaxed, emotionally secure, and hopeful again. Sources close to the couple claim their relationship developed quietly, away from public attention, allowing Mary to experience something she had not felt in a very long time: stability. And according to reports, Henry encouraged her to focus on happiness, growth, and emotional healing, rather than... Whether Cody secretly regretted allowing the marriage to collapse, or whether he simply struggled with losing control over a chapter of his life that once defined him. Meanwhile, Robin reportedly found herself caught in an emotionally difficult position because while she remained Cody's only active wife, she also witnessed the emotional consequences of the family breakdown more closely than anyone. And according to several reports, the pressure surrounding their relationship has intensified significantly as public criticism, family divisions, and emotional exhaustion continue building around them. Robin herself admitted during emotional confessions that their marriage faced difficult moments, especially as Cody struggled with rejection from former wives and children. And some viewers believe the emotional weight of losing so many family connections may eventually place even more pressure on the only marriage remaining intact. Meanwhile, Christine and Janelle continued building independent lives outside the plural marriage structure, and their transformations became another major source of fascination for audiences. Christine especially appeared happier, more confident, and emotionally fulfilled after finding love again with David Woolley, while Janelle focused heavily on her children, independence, and personal peace. And as viewers watched these women rebuild their lives, a powerful pattern began emerging. Many fans started questioning whether the Brown family dream had actually been sustainable in the first place. Because although the series originally promoted plural marriage as a beautiful, cooperative lifestyle, later seasons revealed painful emotional realities: jealousy, communication breakdowns, financial stress, and emotional neglect that slowly destroyed the foundation holding everything together. Even Cody eventually admitted that plural marriage complicated emotional intimacy and created constant emotional defensiveness, a confession that shocked viewers who remembered how passionately he once defended the lifestyle. And now, with Mary officially remarried, the emotional symbolism feels impossible to ignore, because her marriage to Henry represents far more than romance. It represents closure, independence, and the final emotional separation from a world she spent decades trying to preserve. And perhaps what fascinates audiences most is how unpredictable the story continues to be, because every time viewers think the emotional chaos has finally set. As the emotional fallout from Mary Brown's shocking marriage to Henry William continued spreading through the Brown family, the atmosphere surrounding everyone connected to sister wives became even more intense, because viewers were no longer simply watching a reality television family struggle through ordinary disagreements. They were witnessing the complete collapse of a lifestyle that once defined the identities of every person involved. And with each new confession, emotional interview, and private detail leaking from insiders, fans became more convinced that the real story behind the Brown family breakdown was far deeper, more painful, and more complicated than what had originally appeared on screen. For years, audiences watched Cody Brown present himself as the leader of a large, unconventional family built on unity, sacrifice, faith, and commitment. But as the relationships began unraveling one after another, a completely different picture slowly emerged. One filled with emotional distance, unresolved resentment, and fractured trust. And nowhere was that transformation more visible than in his relationship with Mary. Because while Cody openly admitted he no longer felt romantic love toward her, Mary spent years trying to understand how a marriage that once seemed full of possibility had slowly become emotionally empty. Viewers remember the painful moments where she sat alone, reflecting on anniversaries, family events, and conversations that left her feeling invisible, while Cody repeatedly explained that he felt trapped, confused, and emotionally disconnected. And although he sometimes hinted that things could improve, those moments only created more emotional confusion for Mary, who desperately wanted clarity, consistency, and honesty. According to people close to the family, one of the most heartbreaking aspects of their separation was the fact fact that neither of them fully ended the relationship for years. Instead, they remained stuck in an emotional limbo where hope, frustration, silence, and disappointment continued repeating endlessly until Mary finally realized she needed to stop waiting for a version of the marriage that no longer existed. And when she eventually requested an official spiritual release from their church, it marked one of the most emotional turning points in the entire series. Because unlike the other separations, this decision carried deep symbolic meaning for Mary, who once viewed the covenant as eternal and sacred. But even after the official separation, viewers noticed that Cody still seemed emotionally unsettled whenever discussing Mary, especially when conversations turned toward blame, loyalty, or reputation. And while others admitted they no longer trusted their father's intentions. And according to family confessions, some of the deepest damage occurred during the pandemic years, when disagreements over household rules, loyalty, and communication created emotional fractures that never fully healed. Viewers watched heartbreaking conversations where children described feeling dismissed, neglected, or emotionally secondary, while Cody argued he felt rejected, disrespected, and unfairly blamed for the collapse of the family structure. And perhaps the most painful aspect of these conflicts was the realization that many relationships, which once appeared loving and connected, had slowly transformed into silence, distance, and unresolved anger over time. Some children stopped communicating with Cody entirely, while others maintained only limited interaction. And those emotional divisions reportedly created enormous pressure inside Cody and Robin's marriage as well. Because while Robin remained his only active wife, she also became the emotional center of a family under constant public scrutiny. And according to multiple confessions, the strain affected both of them deeply. Robin admitted she worried about Cody's emotional state, especially as more relationships around him collapsed, and viewers noticed increasing signs of tension, exhaustion, and emotional instability between them. Some fans even speculated that the isolation created by losing connections with so many family members may eventually create serious long-term problems inside their marriage too. Meanwhile, Christine and Janelle continued moving forward with their independent lives, and their personal transformations became powerful storylines of their own. Christine especially experienced a dramatic shift after leaving Cody, eventually finding happiness with David Woolley and openly embracing a completely different version of family life. Viewers who once watched her struggle with loneliness, emotional neglect, and insecurity suddenly saw her become confident, energetic, and emotionally fulfilled. And for many fans, her transformation became symbolic proof that life after the Brown family could actually lead to peace, freedom, and personal growth. Janelle also earned strong support from audiences for her calm, independent approach, focusing heavily on her children, financial stability, and emotional well-being rather than public drama. And as these women rebuilt their lives, audiences started reevaluating the entire history of the Brown family, asking difficult questions about whether plural marriage had ever truly worked the way it was originally presented. Because while earlier seasons emphasized